The pilgrim emerged from hyperspace with a shudder that reverberated through its hull. Dr. Eva Chen gripped her tablet tighter, her perpetually furrowed brow deepening as she peered out the observation window. The sight that greeted her eyes defied all scientific expectations. Eternalia loomed before them, a jewel suspended in the void of space. Azure ocean swirled beneath a violet sky, dotted with floating islands that seemed to defy gravity itself. Eva's analytical mind raced, trying to comprehend the physics that could allow such a phenomenon. "Welcome to Eternalia," chimed the melodious voice of the ship's AI. "Duration of stay, 7 standard days." Eva turned to observe her fellow pilgrims, each reacting to the alien world in their own way. Abraham, the white-bearded zealot, pressed his palms against the window, his eyes burning with fervent anticipation. Major Sam Hawk stood rigid, his hands trembling slightly as he gazed at the planet, no doubt replaying memories of past missions gone awry. Isabel, the artist, her fingers dancing in the air as if painting the scene before her, whispered, "It's more beautiful than I could have ever imagined." Senator Marcus Vale's lips curved into a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "Quite the sight, indeed. I wonder what other wonders this world holds." Xander and Nova, the interspecies couple, clutched each other's hands tightly, their fingers intertwining despite their differing skin tones. Nova's eyes sparkled with an intensity that seemed almost unnatural. As the pilgrim began its descent, a haunting melody filled the cabin. Ava's scientific curiosity piqued. "What is that sound?" The ship's AI responded, "That is the song of Eternalia. It is created by wind passing through the planet's crystal formations." Abraham's voice rose above the music. "It is the voice of the divine, calling us to salvation." Eva bit back a retort, reminding herself that they all had their reasons for this pilgrimage. Instead, she focused on the approaching landscape. The Temple of Oblivion dominated the horizon, a colossal structure of pulsating blue crystal that seemed to breathe with a life of its own. As they disembarked, Eva's feet touched the soil of an alien world for the first time. The air felt charged, tingling against her skin. A figure approached, its skin shimmering with sapphire hues. Ava's breath caught in her throat as she realized this must be one of the native Eternalians. The being's eyes glowed with a wisdom that seemed to span eons. "Welcome, pilgrims," the Eternalian spoke, her voice as melodious as the planet's song. "I am Celesta, leader of the Eternalians and guardian of the temple. We have long awaited your arrival." Senator Vale stepped forward, his charm on full display. "We are honored by your welcome, Celesta. I speak for all of us when I say we're eager to learn about your world and its unique properties." Celesta's gaze lingered on each of them in turn. "All will be revealed in time, Senator. But first, you must prepare yourselves. The ritual of the temple is not to be undertaken lightly." Major Hawk's posture stiffened. "Ritual? We weren't briefed on any ritual." "Peace, soldier," Abraham interjected. "We have come to be cleansed. Whatever trial awaits us is but a step on the path to redemption." Eva noticed Nova shift uncomfortably at Abraham's words, her grip on Xander's hand tightening. Celesta gestured towards a shimmering path. "If you'll follow me, I will guide you to the Garden of Contemplation. There, you will spend your first day on Eternalia, reflecting on your past and preparing for what lies ahead." As they walked, the landscape seemed to ripple and change around them. Plants swayed in non-existent breezes, their colors shifting in response to the pilgrim's proximity. Eva's scientific mind reeled at the impossibility of it all. "This is incredible," Isabel breathed, her artist's eye drinking in every detail. It's as if the entire planet is alive, responding to our very presence. An illusion, Major Hawk muttered. Probably some advanced holographic technology. Eva shook her head. I'm not detecting any energy signatures consistent with holograms. This appears to be organic. They arrived at a clearing where the plant life formed a natural amphitheater. Celesta turned to address the group. The Garden of Contemplation will react to your emotions and memories. Use this time wisely to prepare yourselves for the trials ahead. Tomorrow, you will enter the temple. As Celesta departed, the pilgrims dispersed throughout the garden. Eva found a quiet spot and began to document her observations, her mind buzzing with questions. She noticed Senator Vale attempting to engage Celesta in further conversation, his body language indicating a mix of charm and probing inquiry. Abraham knelt in prayer, his lips moving silently as the plants around him took on a golden hue. Major Hawk paced restlessly, the vegetation darkening and writhing in his wake. Isabel sat cross-legged, her eyes closed in meditation as a kaleidoscope of colors bloomed around her. Xander and Nova found a secluded corner, speaking in hushed tones. Eva's curiosity got the better of her, and she edged closer to overhear. "Are you sure about this?" Xander whispered, concern etched on his features. "We can still leave." Nova's response was firm. "We've come too far to turn back now. This is our chance, Xander, our chance for acceptance." "But at what cost?" Xander's voice cracked with emotion. "The things we've heard about this temple. What if we lose ourselves in the process?" Nova cupped Xander's face in her hands. "We'll face it together. Whatever happens, we have each other." As Eva retreated, mulling over the overheard conversation, she bumped into Senator Vale. "Fascinating place, isn't it, Doctor?" Vale's smile was all politician. "I couldn't help but notice your scientific interest. Tell me, what do you make of our gracious hosts?" Eva chose her words carefully. "The Eternelians possess technology far beyond our current understanding. The potential for scientific advancement is immense." Vale's eyes glinted. "Indeed, and think of the political implications. An alliance with such an advanced race could shift the balance of power in our sector dramatically." "Is that why you're here, Senator? For political gain?" Vale's smile never wavered. "We all have our reasons for seeking absolution, Doctor, some more complex than others." As night fell on Eternelia, the garden transformed. Bioluminescent plants cast an ethereal glow, and the air filled with a soft, pulsing rhythm that seemed to match the beating of their hearts. Eva found herself unable to sleep, her mind racing with theories and questions. She noticed she wasn't alone in her insomnia. Major Hawk sat rigidly at the edge of the clearing, his eyes scanning the alien landscape as if expecting an ambush at any moment. "Trouble sleeping, Major?" Eva approached cautiously. Hawk's jaw clenched. "Something's not right here. It's too perfect, too accommodating. In my experience, when something seems too good to be true, it usually is." Eva nodded, understanding the soldier's paranoia. "What do you think we'll face in the temple tomorrow?" "I don't know," Hawk admitted, his voice low. "But whatever it is, we need to be prepared for the worst. This isn't some spiritual retreat. There's more at stake here than any of us realize." As dawn broke on Eternelia, casting the alien landscape in shades of lavender and gold, the pilgrims gathered at the entrance to the Temple of Oblivion. The massive crystal structure pulsed with an inner light, as if alive and breathing. Celesta appeared before them, her sapphire skin glowing in the early morning light. "The time has come, pilgrims. Are you prepared to face your past and embrace the gift of oblivion? Abraham stepped forward, his eyes shining with zealous fervor. We are ready to be cleansed in the light of truth. Eva noticed the others' reactions. Isabel's fingers twitched nervously, while Senator Vale's eyes darted between Celesta and the temple, calculating. Major Hawk's hand instinctively reached for a weapon that wasn't there. Xander and Nova clung to each other, a mix of fear and determination on their faces. As they approached the temple's entrance, the crystal surfaces rippled like water, reflecting distorted images of each pilgrim. Eva gasped as she saw her reflection twist and change, showing glimpses of her past, failures, regrets, and moments of weakness she had long tried to forget. What you see is but a fraction of what awaits you inside, Celesta's voice echoed around them. The temple will strip away your defenses, forcing you to confront the truths you have hidden even from yourselves. Only then can you truly be free. The massive doors of the temple swung open silently, revealing a corridor that seemed to stretch into infinity, shimmering with possibilities. Once you enter, there is no turning back, Celesta warned. The journey through the temple is different for each pilgrim. You may face your greatest fears, relive your deepest regrets, or be tempted by your darkest desires. Remember, the path to oblivion is paved with the fragments of your past. Eva took a deep breath, steeling herself for what lay ahead. As a scientist, she had always sought the truth, no matter how uncomfortable. But now, faced with the prospect of confronting her own hidden truths, she felt a flicker of doubt. Senator Vale's smooth voice cut through the tension. Surely, there must be some alternative to this process, a less invasive method of achieving our goals? Celesta's gaze hardened. The temple does not offer shortcuts, Senator. True change requires sacrifice. If you are not willing to face your past, you are free to leave. Vale's smile faltered for a moment before he regained his composure. Of course. I merely wanted to understand all our options. Major Hawk stepped forward, his soldiers' instincts on high alert. And what guarantee do we have that we'll come out of this intact? I've seen good men broken by facing their demons. The temple offers no guarantees, Celesta replied. The outcome depends on your strength, your willingness to change, and the weight of your past. Some emerge reborn, others changed in ways they never expected. Isabel spoke up, her artist's sensitivity evident in her trembling voice. Will we lose ourselves in the process, our memories, our identities? Celesta's expression softened. The Temple of Oblivion offers the gift of forgetting, but what you choose to forget and what you fight to remember is ultimately up to you. The challenge lies in discerning which memories define you and which ones chain you to a past you wish to escape. As the pilgrims stood on the threshold of the temple, each lost in their own thoughts and fears, Eva realized that this was more than just a scientific expedition or a spiritual journey. They were about to embark on a voyage into the very core of their beings, with no certainty of what they would find, or what would remain when it was over. With a shared look of determination and trepidation, the 7 pilgrims stepped into the shimmering corridor of the Temple of Oblivion, the crystal doors sealing behind them with a resonant hum. Their journey into the heart of Eternelia and into the depths of their own souls had begun. As the crystal doors of the Temple of Oblivion sealed shut behind them, the 7 pilgrims found themselves enveloped in a shimmering corridor that seemed to stretch into infinity. The air hummed with an otherworldly energy, and time itself began to warp around them. Dr. Eva Chen's analytical mind struggled to comprehend the physics-defying phenomenon. "Fascinating," she muttered, checking her instruments. It appears time flows differently here. Each hour within the temple equates to a day outside. Before anyone could respond, the corridor split into 7 distinct paths, each pulsing with a different hue. An unseen force gently but firmly pulled each pilgrim towards their designated trial. Abraham, the zealot, found himself thrust into a desert of luminescent sand. Each dune shifted and morphed, taking on the shape of faces he recognized with a jolt of shame and fear, his past sins given form in this alien landscape. "No," he whispered, his voice cracking. "I've repented. I've changed." But the faces in the sand only leered back at him, their voices a cacophony of accusation and despair. Abraham fell to his knees, clutching his head. "God, give me strength," he prayed, his words swallowed by the howling wind. Meanwhile, Eva descended into a network of caves lined with living crystals. Each facet contained glimpses of knowledge from ancient civilizations. Her scientific curiosity burned, urging her to explore, to understand. "Incredible," she breathed, reaching out to touch a crystal. As her fingers made contact, a flood of information surged into her mind. Equations, theories, and discoveries beyond her wildest imagination filled her consciousness. But with each new piece of knowledge came a price. Ava felt her own memory slipping away, replaced by the alien wisdom of long-dead races. She recoiled, gasping. "No, this isn't right. I can't lose myself, not even for this." In another part of the temple, Major Sam Hawk found himself in a forest unlike any he had ever encountered. The trees were made of metal and wires, their leaves glowing circuits that hummed with electricity. As he pushed through the strange foliage, phantoms from his past materialized around him. "You left us to die, Major," accused a spectral soldier, his uniform torn and bloodied. "It was your call, and we paid the price," snarled another, her face half melted from some terrible weapon. Sam's hand instinctively reached for a weapon that wasn't there. "It was war," he growled, his voice thick with suppressed emotion. "I made the best decisions I could with the information I had." But the phantoms pressed closer, their accusations growing louder, merging with the electric hum of the forest until Sam could no longer distinguish between the voices of the dead and the pulsing of the alien technology around him. Isabel, the artist, found herself adrift on a river of liquid paint. Each ripple and splash created breathtaking masterpieces that dissolved almost instantly. She reached out, trying desperately to capture the fleeting beauty. "Wait," she cried as another stunning image formed and disappeared before her eyes. "I need to remember this. I need to create." But the river flowed on, indifferent to her pleas. Isabel realized with growing horror that each masterpiece she witnessed was erasing her memories of her own art, her own creative spark. "No," she sobbed, clutching at her fading inspirations. "My art is who I am. I can't lose that." Senator Marcus Vail's trial took the form of a labyrinth of mirrors. Each reflective surface showed a different aspect of his personality, some noble, others twisted with corruption and greed. He straightened his tie, trying to maintain his composure. "Quite the elaborate setup," he mused, his political mask firmly in place. "But I've faced tougher opponents than my own reflection." As he navigated the maze, the reflections began to speak, revealing his deepest secrets and most shameful desires. Marcus felt his carefully constructed facade beginning to crack. Suddenly, one mirror shimmered, revealing the image of a stunningly beautiful Eternelian. She beckoned to him, her sapphire skin glowing with an otherworldly allure. Marcus felt a pull of desire so strong it made him gasp. "Come to me," the Eternelian purred, her voice a seductive melody. I can give you power beyond your wildest dreams. Together, we could rule not just your world, but countless others. Marcus stepped closer, his hand reaching out to touch the mirror. And what would be the price of such power? He asked, his voice husky with temptation. The Eternelian's smile turned predatory. Only your humanity. A small price to pay, don't you think? For a moment, Marcus wavered on the edge of giving in, but then he saw his own reflection superimposed over the Eternelian's image, a reflection that showed the monster he would become if he accepted her offer. With a supreme effort of will, he turned away. "No," he growled. "I may not be a good man, but I'm still a man. I won't become that." The Eternelian's scream of rage followed him as he stumbled deeper into the labyrinth, shaken but resolute. Xander and Nova, the interspecies couple, found themselves separated by the Valley of Whispers. Though they could see each other across the divide, an invisible barrier kept them apart. The air around them filled with whispered voices, echoing the prejudices and fears of their respective species. "She'll never truly understand you," the voices hissed in Xander's ear. "How can you trust someone so alien?" "He'll always see you as different," they whispered to Nova. "You'll never be accepted in his world." Xander pressed his hands against the invisible barrier, his eyes locked on Nova. "Don't listen to them," he shouted. "What we have is real." Nova nodded, tears streaming down her face. "We're stronger than their hatred," she called back. But as the whispers grew louder, doubt began to creep into both their hearts. As the temple's warped time flowed on, the pilgrims found themselves returning each evening to a common room within the heart of the structure. Here, they gathered to share their experiences and grapple with the changes they felt occurring within themselves. The room was dominated by a crystal fountain that emitted a haunting melody, the Nocturne of Oblivion. As they listened, each pilgrim felt their memories becoming hazier, the experiences of their trials blurring at the edges. "I'm losing myself," Isabel confessed on the third night, her eyes wild with fear. "My art, my inspiration, it's slipping away with each passing moment." Abraham laid a comforting hand on her shoulder, though his own eyes were haunted. "Perhaps that is the point, my dear, to strip away all that we were, so that we might be reborn." Eva shook her head vehemently. "No, this isn't right. We're not just losing painful memories or past sins. We're losing the very essence of who we are." Major Hawk, who had been silent and withdrawn since their trials began, suddenly spoke up. "Maybe some of us deserve to be erased," he said, his voice hollow. "Maybe that's the only way to atone." Senator Vale, looking more disheveled than any of them had ever seen him, barked out a harsh laugh. "Speak for yourself, Major. I've worked too damn hard to build myself up. I won't let this place tear me down." Xander and Nova sat slightly apart from the group, their hands intertwined. They had been growing increasingly withdrawn, speaking only to each other in hushed tones. As the days within the temple stretched on, tensions among the group began to rise. The constant exposure to their deepest fears and darkest secrets wore away at their sanity and their relationships with each other. On the fifth day, as they gathered once again in the common room, Nova suddenly stood, her body trembling. "I can't do this anymore," she announced, her voice quavering. "I can't keep lying to all of you, to myself." Xander reached for her hand, confusion and fear etched on his face. "Nova, what are you talking about?" Nova pulled away from him, tears streaming down her face. "I'm not who you think I am. I'm not even human." A shocked silence fell over the group. Then, before their eyes, Nova's form began to shimmer and change. Her skin took on a sapphire hue, her eyes glowing with an inner light that was unmistakably Eternelian. "You're one of them," Eva breathed, her scientific mind racing to comprehend the implications. Major Hawk was on his feet in an instant, his posture aggressive. "A spy! I knew there was something off about this whole setup." Xander stared at Nova, his face a mask of betrayal and confusion. All this time, was any of it real? Nova reached out to him, her now alien features twisted with anguish. "Xander, please, my feelings for you are real. I never meant to—" But her words were cut off as chaos erupted in the room. Abraham fell to his knees, alternating between prayers and mad ramblings about divine tests. Isabel backed away, her artist's eye capturing every detail of Nova's transformation, even as she shook with fear. Senator Vale's eyes gleamed with a dangerous light. "Well, well," he purred, his political mind already calculating the advantages of this revelation. "It seems our gracious hosts have been playing a deeper game than we realized." As accusations and questions flew, the crystal fountain's melody grew louder, more insistent. The nocturne of oblivion swelled, drowning out the pilgrims' voices and filling their minds with a fog of confusion. Eva, fighting against the music's influence, managed to shout over the cacophony. "We need to get out of here. This isn't about redemption or oblivion, it's about control." But even as the words left her mouth, she felt her own determination wavering. Why were they here again? What was it they were trying to forget? As the pilgrims grappled with Nova's revelation and their own fading memories, the walls of the temple began to pulse with an ominous light. The trials they had faced, the temptations they had resisted or succumbed to, all seemed to be building to some terrible climax. In that moment of chaos and revelation, with their identities hanging by a thread and their purpose lost in a haze of alien music, the true nature of the Temple of Oblivion and the price of the gift it offered began to reveal itself. As the Temple of Oblivion pulsed with ominous light, the 7 pilgrims found themselves suddenly transported to a vast, dome-shaped chamber. The Hall of Eternity stretched above them, its crystalline walls shimmering with countless pinpricks of light. Eva, her scientific mind still desperately clinging to rationality, gasped as she realized what she was seeing. "These aren't stars," she breathed. "They're memories." All around them, glowing spheres of various sizes and colors floated gently through the air. As the pilgrims watched, transfixed, images began to play within the spheres, snippets of lives lived, choices made, and paths not taken. Celesta materialized in the center of the chamber, her sapphire skin radiant against the backdrop of swirling memories. "Welcome to the heart of Eternelia," she intoned, her voice resonating with power. "Here, at last, you will understand the true nature of our gift and the price it demands." Major Hawk, his soldier's instincts on high alert, growled, "Enough games. What's really going on here?" Celesta's eyes, filled with the wisdom of ages, swept over the group. "Eternelia stands at a crossroads. Our civilization, for all its advancement, faces extinction. The Temple of Oblivion is our last hope, a repository for the collective memories and experiences of countless beings across the galaxy." As she spoke, the chamber darkened, and a celestial display materialized above them. 3 moons, each a different hue, began to align in a rare cosmic dance. "The convergence approaches," Celesta continued, "a celestial event that occurs once in a millennium. It will amplify the temple's power exponentially, allowing us to complete our great work or doom us to oblivion." Senator Vale, his political acumen sensing an opportunity, stepped forward, And where do we fit into this grand plan of yours? Celesta's gaze locked onto him, seeing through his practiced charm to the ambition beneath. You, Senator, and your fellow pilgrims represent the final piece of the puzzle. Your memories, your experiences, the very essence of your species are the key to our survival. The implications of her words hit the group like a physical blow. Isabel, her artist's sensitivity overwhelmed by the swirling memories around them, whispered, "You want to absorb us?" Not just absorb, Eva realized, her analytical mind racing. They want to use us as a template to recreate their entire civilization. Our memories, our traits, they'd be duplicated across their entire population. Abraham, who had been uncharacteristically silent, suddenly laughed, a harsh, bitter sound. "A divine test indeed," he spat, "not of our faith, but of our very humanity." Xander, still reeling from Nova's revelation, turned to his lover with anguish in his eyes. "Did you know about this? Was everything between us just part of the plan?" Nova reached for him, her Adernelian features twisted with genuine pain. "No, Xander, my feelings for you are real. I was sent to observe, to learn, but I never expected to fall in love." As the pilgrims grappled with this earth-shattering revelation, a new sound filled the chamber. It started as a low hum, barely perceptible, but grew steadily in volume and complexity. The Requiem of Eternelia, a song of both mourning and hope, of endings and new beginnings. Celesta spread her arms wide, her voice merging with the otherworldly music. "The choice is yours. Embrace oblivion, allow your essences to merge with ours, and ensure the survival of a civilization that has spanned millennia, or cling to your individual identities and condemn us all to extinction." The pilgrims looked at each other, the weight of an entire world's fate pressing down upon them. The memories swirling around them seemed to pulse in time with the requiem, urging them towards a decision. Major Hawk was the first to speak, his voice rough with emotion. "I've spent my life making hard choices, sacrificing the few to save the many. But this is too much to ask." Eva shook her head, torn between scientific curiosity and moral outrage. "The ethical implications are staggering. We'd be essentially overriding an entire civilization with our own experiences, our own biases. How can we be sure the result wouldn't be catastrophic?" Senator Vale, ever the pragmatist, saw an angle. "But think of the possibilities. Our influence, spread across an advanced alien civilization. The power we could wield." "Power?" Abraham scoffed, his faith warring with his anger. "At the cost of our souls? Our very identities?" Isabel, who had been quiet, suddenly spoke up. "But isn't this what art is about? Creating something new, something transcendent from the raw material of our experiences. Maybe this is the ultimate canvas." As they debated, the convergence neared its apex. The three moons of Eternelia aligned perfectly, bathing the Hall of Eternity in an otherworldly light. The memories swirling around them began to pulse more intensely, and the pilgrims felt a pull, not physical, but something deeper, as if the very fabric of their beings was being tugged upon. Celesta's voice cut through their deliberations. "Choose now. The convergence is upon us. Embrace oblivion, or condemn us all." In that moment of crisis, with the fate of two civilizations hanging in the balance, each pilgrim faced their own internal struggle. Eva, the scientist, weighed the potential knowledge to be gained against the loss of self. Major Hawk grappled with the concept of one final, ultimate sacrifice. Senator Vale's ambition warred with his newfound understanding of the consequences of unchecked power. Abraham searched desperately for divine guidance in a situation that defied all his teachings. Isabel contemplated the ultimate act of creation and destruction. And Xander looked at Nova, seeing both the alien and the woman he had come to love. As the requiem of Eternelia reached a fever pitch, the pilgrims made their choices, not as a unified group, but as individuals, each following the dictates of their conscience, their desires and their fears. Some stepped forward, embracing the swirling memories, allowing their essences to merge with the countless others contained within the temple. Others resisted, clinging fiercely to their identities even as the pull of oblivion threatened to tear them apart. In the chaos of that moment, as choices were made and unmade, something unexpected occurred. The temple itself, that ancient repository of memories and experiences, began to change. The crystalline walls pulsed with new colors, blending the hues of human skin with the sapphire tones of the Eternelians. Celesta's eyes widened in wonder. "Impossible," she breathed. "The temple, it's adapting, creating a new pattern, a new possibility we never imagined." As the convergence reached its climax, a blinding light filled the Hall of Eternity. The pilgrims felt themselves stretched, pulled apart, and then reassembled in ways they couldn't comprehend. When the light faded and they could see again, they found themselves forever changed. They retained their individual identities but now carried within them a piece of Eternelia's vast collective consciousness. And the Eternelians, in turn, had been indelibly altered by the introduction of human experiences and perspectives. Celesta, her form now a shimmering blend of human and Eternelian characteristics, addressed the group. "You have given us more than salvation," she said, her voice filled with awe. "You have given us renewal, a new path forward that honors both our past and opens up infinite possibilities for our future." As the pilgrims struggled to comprehend the full implications of what had occurred, they realized that their journey was far from over. In fact, it had only just begun. Epilogue. 1 year later, the double suns of Eternelia dipped towards the horizon, painting the sky in impossible shades of purple and gold. Atop the transformed Temple of Oblivion, now known as the Spire of Unity, a group gathered to witness the spectacular sunset. Ava, her eyes now flecked with the bioluminescent glow of Eternelian genetics, gestured excitedly as she explained her latest discovery to a group of human and Eternelian scientists. As head of the newly established Interdimensional Research Center, she was at the forefront of unlocking the secrets of the universe. The merger of our scientific methodologies with Eternelian intuitive knowledge has opened up avenues of research we never dreamed possible, she enthused. We're on the verge of understanding the very fabric of reality itself. Nearby, Major Hawk, now General Hawk, supervised a mixed group of human and Eternelian security forces. His face, once perpetually tense, now carried a sense of purpose and peace. "Remember," he instructed his charges, "true strength comes not just from physical prowess or advanced technology, but from understanding and empathy. We protect not just our own, but all sentient life." In a quiet corner of the spire's garden, Abraham sat cross-legged, leading a diverse group in meditation. His faith, once rigid and unyielding, had expanded to encompass the vastness of the cosmos and the myriad forms of spirituality he now carried within him. "The divine," he intoned, his voice serene, "is not confined to any one form or belief. It is the connection between all living things, the spark of consciousness that unites us all." Isabel stood before a shimmering crystal sculpture, her hands moving in graceful arcs as she shaped the living artwork with both physical touch and mental projection. The piece shifted and flowed, reflecting the merged consciousnesses of human and Eternelian observers. Art is no longer just a reflection of life, she explained to a group of awestruck students. It is life itself, ever-changing, ever-growing. Our creations now have the potential to evolve beyond our wildest imaginations. Senator Vale, now Ambassador Vale, engaged in animated discussion with a group of human and Eternelian diplomats. His silver tongue and political acumen, tempered now by a deeper understanding of the consequences of power, made him an ideal bridge between the two civilizations. Our strength lies in our differences, he argued passionately. By maintaining our unique perspectives while working towards common goals, we create a society greater than the sum of its parts. And at the very edge of the spire's observation deck, Xander and Nova stood hand in hand, watching their young child, a perfect blend of human and Eternelian, play with a group of mixed-species friends. The child's laughter, containing notes impossible for a purely human or Eternelian vocal cord to produce, rang out across the gathering. As the last rays of the double suns dipped below the horizon, a new sound filled the air. The Symphony of Unity, a collaborative piece that combined elements of human music with the song of Eternelia, began to play. Its complex harmonies and otherworldly melodies spoke of loss and discovery, of endings and new beginnings, of the infinite potential born from the union of two peoples. The gathered crowd, human, Eternelian, and everything in between, fell silent, absorbed in the music and the moment. As the symphony swelled to its climax, they knew that they stood at the threshold of a new era. The journey that had begun with 7 pilgrims seeking oblivion had led to something far greater, a future limited only by the bounds of their combined imagination. As the final notes of the symphony faded into the twilight, the stars began to emerge, countless pinpricks of light in the vast canvas of space. And somewhere out there, they knew, other civilizations awaited, other chances for connection, for growth, for the kind of transformation they had undergone. The universe, with all its infinite possibilities, beckoned, and they, this new hybrid society of humans and Eternelians, were ready to answer its call.